Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish, and I am the founder and the host of this particular program. I'm just so excited each and every one of you has tuned in today. I have an amazing guest that we finally connected, and we're going to finally have a show together, which I'm beyond excited about because this amazing woman is doing some extraordinary things out there, and you need to get to know her. I can't wait. I've had the opportunity to read about her. I had my assistant tell me all about it. I've just been learning so much, and I really wanted her to be on this program because of that reason. So Allison Cherkosly is going to be my amazing guest today, and you're going to be tickled pink on what she's going to have to say. So Allison, welcome to the show. You know what? I do apologize for us taking so long to get you on here, but I'm so excited to finally get you.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited as well. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and you've got an amazing program. But before we talk about the things that you do, would you mind just spending a couple of minutes here just telling us who you are so that we can get to know you?
Sure, absolutely. So I live in upstate New York in the Albany, Saratoga area. I've been here most of my life until when I was 17, I joined the Army and went through all of my training and went to Afghanistan in 2009 to 2010. And once I got back from my experience overseas, I threw myself right into the nonprofit sector, which I've volunteered with organizations since I could walk, but it was always my passion. I always wanted to be involved in helping others through my professional endeavors. So I've been in fundraising and nonprofit management for over a decade now, and my focus now is working with veterans and horses through a program called Saratoga WarHorse, and I'm the executive director and chief executive officer for this organization now.
And what made you decide to do that? Like I was reading your bio and learning all about you, and we have a lot in common in the fact that, you know, I've been a dog rescuer for many, many years, and I grew up on a horse ranch. So when I was reading about what you're doing, it was really dear to my heart. So tell me what really brought you to this organization.
Sure. It was really serendipity or fate or whatever you want to call it. It was by chance that I met a few of the board members for Saratoga WarHorse. And I'll just say that Saratoga WarHorse has the most impressive board I've ever seen for an organization of this size. Some of the folks we have are just, in addition to very successful people, really amazing people who care so much about the veteran community and also about the Thoroughbred community as well. So Saratoga WarHorse works exclusively with off-the-track Thoroughbred racehorses. It's the only kind of horses we use because when they come off of the racetrack, they're often looking for another job, and we help to give them one that's really positive and is able to help veterans who are struggling with post-traumatic stress. So when I met the board members, I was really impressed by the organization, and they happened to be looking for a new executive director. And they found out I was an Army veteran, served in combat, and not only that, I've been riding horses and working with horses, particularly in natural horsemanship, the area that we focus on at Saratoga WarHorse, since I could walk. So it was really a perfect marriage between my two passions, and also seemed like a really good fit for the organization and where we were going. This organization only started up in about 2013. I came on board beginning of 2018, and what I was told was that we are on the cusp of greatness right now. At this 5-year mark, you know, we're kind of in a position where we can either continue on the way we have. We could, you know, pack up shop and say, this is too hard and not worth it, or we can really take off and grow this into the next big thing. And my response was, we need to make this the next big thing, because there are so many veterans and so many racehorses out there in need of help. It would be a disservice to close up shop or to not expand them. And the board was committed to that and still is committed to that as well. So we worked together really closely to position the organization in such a way that we've been able to start expanding. Actually, this year we reached the milestone of serving veterans from all 50 states in the United States plus Puerto Rico. So we truly are a national organization and growing.
Oh, I love it. So I do have a couple questions with that. How did you guys come up with your name? Because I love the name, and how did that come about?
So, to be honest, I wasn't there in the beginning, but the organization was started in Saratoga Springs, and with the connection between veterans who are warriors and the horse connection, it just came together as Saratoga WarHorse.
That's a beautiful name, and I think they did a great job. And one of the other things that I have is that you mentioned that you guys are serving the veterans. Can you explain that to our listeners that might not understand that?
Absolutely. So I always like to give a metaphor when explaining what we do, because it's not always easy to understand unless you see a video of it, which we do have on our website. But first, to understand what we're doing, you have to understand the mindset of veterans when they call us. And when I say veterans, I'm also referring to active duty service members. We serve both. Most are out of the service, but we do also serve those who are still serving. And so when they call us, they're usually in a position where they recognize that they need some kind of help, but don't necessarily know what it is. So I give the metaphor, when you're driving down a busy road or down the highway, and all of a sudden somebody pulls out in front of you, or perhaps the person in front of you slams on their brakes, and you're going 60 miles an hour, but you have about 1 second or one car length to react, to slam on your brakes, to swerve out of the way, to do something. And we've all been in that situation before, and we know that you get kind of an adrenaline rush, which makes your heart beat faster, makes your respiration rate increase. You get that pit in your stomach, and you feel the hair stand up on the back of your neck. You have all of these physical reactions to that adrenaline rush. And usually you pull over, you take a few deep breaths, you calm down, and then you're fine. That's the normal human reaction to stress or trauma. But for veterans who have been traumatized in some of the worst ways, and who many have been traumatized multiple times for extended periods of time, that feeling does not go away. Basically, the brain says, okay, we need to protect ourselves and survive this situation. And so it releases that adrenaline, those hormones, to put the body on permanent guard. We call it survival mode or fight or flight. It's all the same sort of thing. And it manifests with those same sort of physical reactions, the heart rate and the hair standing up on the back of your neck. And so that is a very effective mind state to be in when you're in combat, because that's what helps you to survive if something happens, the ability to react quickly, the fact that you're on guard all of the time. It's a virtue. But outside of the military environment, it's a huge burden. And I always ask people, that moment before the car crash, can you think about your job or your family, or you're getting help for a physical ailment or anything like that? The answer is no. You can't think about anything except survival. And so when veterans call us, there's a range. There's some who are living in those 1-second increments and cannot get out of that survival mode. There are others who get pangs of this once a day or once a week, however often it may be, but still it severely impacts your ability to function as a professional, as a father, a mother, a spouse. It really does. I always give the example that when I first got back from Afghanistan, my first job after I was back was located right next to a county waste treatment plant where they would shoot off fake guns to scare away the birds. And the first time I heard one of those go off in the office at the conference table, I was literally laying on the ground in the prone position under the table ready to fight. And while my coworkers found it amusing, it was embarrassing for me. And you can't live that way or work that way in constant fear or constantly on the cusp of having that kind of reaction. So, like I said, veterans can be in any state, whether it's more mild or extremely severe when they call us. And through our program, which I'll explain in a little more detail, we focus on the physiological symptoms of post-traumatic stress. So we don't treat it as a mental health condition. We focus on making it through stressful situations without triggering that kind of reaction. And what that does is it essentially retrains the brain. Instead of releasing adrenaline to put you in fight or flight mode, it releases hormones that counteract that adrenaline. And by counteracting that adrenaline, it's actually known as a relaxation response. And that's what we want to achieve. And by doing that once, it essentially flips a switch or resets a circuit breaker that the brain is now retrained to not be constantly firing adrenaline to every stressful situation. So our procedure with the horse, when the veteran spends time with the horse, we intentionally recreate a normally stressful situation that would usually trigger a post-traumatic stress type reaction. But because horses are very intuitive animals, they will not come near anyone who is giving off those kinds of vibes and that kind of energy. So the veteran's goal is to get the horse to come near them, accept them, bond with them. And the horse won't do that as long as they are giving off that type of energy. So without the veteran necessarily knowing what's happening, our procedure forces them to make it through this situation, not by avoiding those symptoms or avoiding any situation, but by actually getting their brain to react to the situation in a way that doesn't cause some of the reactions that I mentioned before. And once they're able to do that, it's really amazing to watch, because you'll watch the horse go from being extremely hesitant to go anywhere near the veteran to all of a sudden wanting to connect with them. And once that connection is made, it's a sign that the veteran has been able to survive the situation and has been able to flip that switch. And the horse knows that because they're naturally prey animals, and we as humans are naturally predators. So for a prey animal like a horse to accept that they can trust a predator like a human is validation that that the process worked.
Wow. Well, I'm just gonna say that's probably one of the most amazing.
Sorry, that was a long explanation.
I just thought it was very wonderful, because it gave us an understanding. And I think that's the key, is that we don't understand what a person's gone through and how this all works. But I really, really want to thank you for explaining it in that way.
Oh, thank you for listening. I know that was a long explanation.
Oh, my goodness. I really enjoyed it, and I want to thank you for that. One of the questions I have is that you were mentioning that when the veterans are working with the horses, is there one horse specific to each veteran, or do you have a multitude of, how does that all work? And how, like, I know I'm going to be asking you some more questions on how we can help you, but how many facilities do you have set up? You know, how do these individuals get to see these horses?
Sure. So we have 3 physical locations, one here in upstate New York, one in Aiken, South Carolina, which this month is celebrating its 5th year anniversary. And then we have one in Baltimore County, Maryland, which we launched last year. And even though we have 3 physical locations, we serve veterans from anywhere in the United States, and we pay 100% for their travel. So whether they're in driving distance or coming from Alaska, we make sure we get them to one of our facilities for the program. And the program itself is only 3 days. For the classes, in each location, we partner with some amazing organizations who actually give us their facilities and horses for no cost at all to Saratoga WarHorse. In New York,
That's
we work
awesome.
with Rerun Thoroughbred Adoption in East Greenbush, and they're one of the largest thoroughbred rescues in the Northeast, and they provide free facilities, free horses for us to use in our programming. We also work with Aiken Equine Rescue, another one of the largest equine rescues in South Carolina. And we actually partner with Foxy G Foundation in Baltimore County for use of their horses. But Baltimore County, the actual county government, built a facility where Saratoga WarHorse has not exclusive use, but primary use to do the program. And none of them charge us for that. So we get to focus on the veterans. They provide the expertise in the horse arena. And we both recognize that our missions together, instead of 1 + 1 equaling 2, 1 + 1 equals 3 together. We're able to exponentially increase our reach and our impact by partnering on this program. And
I love that.
At each location, there are different horses that get used. The horses actually are not particularly trained to do our process. We don't want them to be trained. And if they start acting like they already know what's expected, then we usually trade them out for a different horse who doesn't, because we want the connection to be authentic. And all we ask the horses to do, and all we really train them to do, is to embrace their natural instincts, which is nonverbal communication. We want them to respond to nonverbal communication the way they would as if they hadn't been trained to be racehorses. So racehorses are trained to run really fast and turn left, whereas horses who aren't racehorses, depending what they're trained to do, they're usually integrated into herds rather than kept in stalls. And so we want to help them to reintegrate into an equine herd, but also be socialized with humans as well. So the process does benefit both horses and humans. But in our program, in that 3 days, the veterans really only spend maybe 30 minutes each with their partner horse, which they each have their own that they work with.
This sounds like such a fantastic program. And the people that you're collaborating with, oh my goodness, this is just amazing. I really love when organizations work together, because you're right, it's not 1 + 1. It's a multitude of numbers that come up, and to do that is just absolutely brilliant, and I just love what you are doing.
Oh, well, thank you. I am such a believer, and maybe that's why I can't shut up about it, but when I first heard of the program and what they were doing, I didn't quite understand it, and I'm a natural born cynic. I grew up in a Jewish family, so we're just naturally kind of cynical, and I wasn't sure that this was as magical as I was hearing until I watched that first class, and I watched this guy who's a big Marine, tough guy, exactly the kind of guys I served with, and he was shaking, walking when he first took hold of his horse, and our procedure happens in a small enclosed called a round pen. As he was walking in, he was shaking so visibly and clearly terrified, and he was in the round pen with the horse, and I watched him become more confident, and then when that horse connected with him, maybe 20 minutes later, I watched him you could see the change in his body language. He went from being so tense and his shoulders, barely moved. And it was literally like a weight was lifted off. And I watched him just cry on this horse's shoulder. And that in and of itself, in the military, you're not allowed to cry. You're not allowed to show any emotion. It doesn't work that way. But to watch this guy who clearly was terrified 15 minutes ago and hadn't said a word all day up until that point, to see such a visible change in such a short amount of time. And then we had dinner together. All of the veterans have dinner together after they work with the horses. And he could not stop talking about how amazing it was. It was the first time I heard him say anything, and he could not stop talking about how amazing it was. So I watched this change in one day that really blew me away, and that I knew that this program is as good as everyone says it is.
Oh my gosh. And to witness that is amazing. Well, I know that our listeners are probably like, what? How can I be involved? So how can our listeners help you? Because you guys are 100% funded by charitable contributions. So how can the Divas tribe out there, how can we help you?
Excellent question. Number one thing is, if you know a veteran who is struggling, even if you don't necessarily know to the extent, tell them about Saratoga WarHorse, because from the moment they call us until they come through our program and beyond, or even if they don't come through our program, we take care of them and make sure that they get the help that they need. Sometimes you think somebody is fine, but they don't feel that way. They're just projecting that. And so we always ask that you let people know about what we're doing, because with 22 American veterans a day committing suicide, if you can help one person get help, it could literally save a life. So that's first and foremost. As you mentioned, we are 100% funded by donations from private individuals and foundations. So donations are gratefully accepted. It costs about $3,000 per veteran to go through our program, but there are plenty of other things that go into that. If people can give $100, that can pay for the meals for one veteran during our program, or $250 can cover their lodging for 2 nights at our program. So there's a lot of different ways to help. Also, if people are, even if they're not located near one of our physical locations, we're always looking for people who can help with outreach. Social media is now the big thing, and we need ambassadors out there who can help get the message out. We actually, with Veterans Day coming up, we have a Veterans Day campaign that we're putting together, and we have a social media toolkit on our website, which anyone can use to set up a Facebook fundraiser, to post messages about what it is that Saratoga WarHorse is doing. And that outreach is really important to what we do. And we're also always looking for volunteers, people who are interested in what we're doing and who are willing to help get the word out, help on the administrative side, or anyone who's located near one of our locations in upstate New York, Baltimore County, or Aiken, South Carolina. There's always events that we're looking for volunteers. So there's lots of ways to help. We have a whole How to Help page on our website with lots of different options. So anyone who is interested in helping, no matter how, we would definitely like to find a place for them.
Well, we will definitely help you find those volunteers. What is your website so that our listeners can go and check that out?
Sure. It's Saratoga WarHorse, all one word, .org. And also on that website.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say that we have lots of videos on there, including videos that actually show our connection process between veterans and horses, and photos as well, and lots of testimonials from our veteran graduates.
Oh, that's fabulous. And we're going to be posting that on our Facebook page and all of our social media also, so that all of you listeners can check that out. One of the things that I'd like to ask you, Allison, is if you would be interested in joining our Changemakers Cafe on Facebook. It is our group there, and we would love for you to post everything and anything about your organization in that group so that you can connect with all of our listeners there too.
Absolutely. That would be incredible.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for being my amazing guest today. I hope that you come back on our program. I know that I'm going to try to get this show out to as many places as I can so that we know, all of our listeners can learn of what you are doing, because I think it's an amazing organization and we really want to be a part of that.
Wonderful. Well, I can't thank you enough for having me and for letting us get the word out about what Saratoga WarHorse is doing, and I absolutely love what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. And you know what? I want to put a big shout out to all of our amazing listeners. It's because of you that we've been doing these programs now for 9 years, and we have 11 different hosts now on the Divas That Care network. So I hope that you're able to check and tune into all of them. They interview amazing people from around the world that are doing extraordinary things like Allison, and a part of a lot of organizations. So we want to make sure that we're all locking arms with as many of these organizations as we can, because they're doing some fantastic things. And you never know who's going to be wanting to utilize these organizations. So thank you again to all of our listeners. Thank you so much to my amazing guest, Allison. If you want to learn more about the Divas That Care and all of our guests that have been on our program, please check out divasthatcare.com. I hope that all of you have an amazing day, and I look forward to, getting to know you guys soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.